if you remember back then, I was on the radio with Lil Mo
Mm-hmm.
at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the same year that X1057 went out of business, she got an album dropping.
Right.
And she was like, quick, I remember her calling me, and I'm in my house depressed because I'm thinking I'm going to lose my house. I don't know what I'm going to do next.
Mm-hmm.
And she called me like maybe a week after the station folded. And she was like, what you ready to do, bro? I'm like, shit, nigga, I'm bored. Like, I'm down. Nigga, I'm trying to figure my next move, my next play. And she was like, I'm ready to go on tour with my promo album. You want to go with me? I was like, fuck yeah, nigga, I ain't doing shit.
Right,
but that tour
right.
changed it, because from that tour, I went on a promo tour with her. 3 months later, Jay-Z and 50 Cent announced the Rock the Mic tour.
Right.
They want Lil Mo and Fab. They called me the DJ. So I don't know if you knew, I DJ on the whole Rock the Mic tour, 30 plus cities. Jay, 50, Busta, Missy, Fab, and Lil Mo. And I'm the DJ. And I remember DJing that tour. Then that tour opened up a ton of tours. Then I did the Seagram's tour, signed with Pepsi. But then after I finished touring, by that time I was a national name, and I kept saying I can't go back to Baltimore because now I'm too big, and plus if I go back to Baltimore, I'm gonna start getting in trouble.
Right, yeah.
I want to go to a major market that I can really come and own my skills and become like a big DJ.
Right.
And like I don't want to move to New York. I ain't trying to go down south. I thought about moving to Atlanta at the time, but so many niggas was flooding Atlanta in them late 90s, early 2000s. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go fuck with DC.
So that tour was it strengthened your resume?
Definitely sure, because now I went from being this local DJ in Baltimore to a national name.
So you on tour with them names you just named. Was it nights that 50 outshined Jay outshined 50, or was it?
You try to get me in
battle?
trouble, man.
Hey, look, they competitive.
No,
so
the real shit, like I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you. At that point, Jay and 50, they were cordial, but they wasn't tight.
Right.
But that's when 50 was wild. 50, he super rich now.
Right, yeah.
So he done toned it all. He's still 50, but he toned it down a lot.
Right.
But back then, that's when Wankster first came out, and he was still straight out the streets.
Right, yeah.
So I remember it been times where 50 would play before Jay, and Jay would always close the show out. But it got to a point where, midway through the tour, 50 started blowing up.
Right.
Like, and the club was out. Like, this nigga was big business.
Right.
So I remember times it would be his it'd be time for his set to be over.
Right.
And 50 be like, man, fuck that, I ain't getting on stage. When Jay gonna come beat me up? I'm like, oh shit, this shit ready to go sour, fast.
Yeah.
Like, we start packing my shit up before the fucking guns start coming out this motherfucker. So But it never was no shit with them.
Right,
it was always like a friendly beef. It's like you got this and I got this, and it's like playing football.
Right, yeah.
We both want to win the Super Bowl, and we're gonna talk shit, and I want to kill you on the field.
Right, yeah.
But afterwards, let's go have a drink.
And both of them put pressure on each other to have come strong every night. I can imagine that.
But I'm gonna tell you the crazy part. Buster.
I didn't say Buster.
Oh my God.
I didn't say Buster.
Like Jay and 50, they were the headliners of the tour. But Busta and Missy?
Right, yeah.
Like, have you seen Busta perform?
Yeah.
Busta, hands down to me, if he's not the greatest, he's one of the greatest hip-hop performers of all times.
Right, yeah.
And I'll say that on record against anybody. We can argue if you want.
Right.
Like, until you see him live, his live show is unfucking believable.
Energy.
So Busta would kill it. But Missy and Busta, if you think they're kind of the
same
artists,
energy.
this female and male.
Yeah, the same energy.
A lot of energy, a lot of props, a lot of, crowd response where they say something, the crowd said back. Man, Busta's live performance as a DJ. If I call myself the party kingpin because I'm a DJ and a personality.
Right.
But a lot of that shit that I talk my shit on the mic and learn how to set up, I remember just watching Busta every night, and he would say something and command the crowd, and I'd be like, nah, I can't wait to DJ somewhere and try that shit.
Right.
And then I would try it, and it would work.
Right. So, do you ever have an experience? Because you always hear when artists coming up, especially they got like a street entourage, they try to lean on the DJ. They're forcing to play music. Did you ever experience any of that when people try to muscle you or attempt it?
I ain't trying to sound tough, but nah. But when I was coming up young, niggas knew who my family was, so ain't nobody tried me.
Right.
But even once I started touring and got big, I always. I say if you know, you know.
Right.
I just move different. I never move I never move scary. I never move I just wasn't no bitch.
They can set your edge.
A nigga, it's like going in a joint. A nigga know first day if he gonna take his shoes or not.
Right, yeah. Right.
And you just know. So
okay.
niggas show me love. Of course, since I've been DJing, I done had niggas in the club pull up trying to, play my song, but it ain't never been like, play my song, I'm going upside your head.
Right, yeah.
We can tough it out how you want to tough it out.
Right. And you can't, like you said, as you move to DC, you want to be in the big market, but you still be close to home. What's some of the misconceptions that a DC person have about Baltimore and a Baltimore person have about DC?
That's a great question, man. I would say we both, cause at this point I'm saying we, because I consider myself from Baltimore, but DC is home.
Right.
So when I say we, I'm talking Baltimore and DC. Right. We both think that we're slick. Like in our mind, Baltimore dudes the slickest niggas in the world.
Right.
In DC mind, y'all the slickest niggas in the world.
Right.
Like, I remember watching Paid in Full and him saying DC, like DC's it.
Right.
Like, DC was always just had their own style, their own swag about it. And so is Baltimore. Yeah. So I think the biggest misconception is that like we never liked each other. It was like an underlying, and it's still now, I always say once a year this whole DMV conversation come up where Twitter goes viral. Right. Baltimore not a part of the DMV, and you got to be in like, nigga, like DMV is a term that people made up just to, I don't know.
Right.
Like that shit, once a year, people arguing on Twitter what the DMV means.
Right, yeah.
But I always say, if you really from DC, you never heard a DC nigga say I'm from DMV.
Right.
Where you from?
Right, you're DC.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
If I talk to any of my OG, nigga, we from DC. That DMV shit, that's some shit that some Maryland and Virginia dudes made up to put us together. So like, and that's why it's always weird to me when you hear the whole DMV shit and people argue that Baltimore not DMV. It's like, come on, my nigga, like. Yeah. It's a part of Maryland,
right? Yeah, and it's weird because, like you said, when you come with so much pride with your city. You know what I'm saying? But now that I got older, like the last probably 10 or 15 years, I look at it different now because with the gentrification, a lot of DC migrated. Even back then, it was people from DC that did well, had good jobs, and still moved to DC, right? So I look at it a whole lot different. But you're right though. But people from my generation and back, like, it still dudes to the day. Tell me, man, why you keep on saying DMV?
Nigga, DC ain't nothing. DC ain't nothing. Like, right? We don't play. But here's the funny part. That's how Baltimore is.
Right. Yeah.
Baltimore ain't never said I want to be part of DMV.
Right. Yeah.
Nigga, we from Baltimore. You ain't never heard a nigga from Bmore say I'm from DMV.
Right. Yeah.
You ain't never heard a nigga from DC say I'm from DMV.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
The niggas who claim DMV, 99% of them are from Maryland and Virginia.
Right. Yeah.
So like, that's why when that argument always come up every year, real DC and real Baltimore niggas, we be on the sideline.
Right.
Listen, it's a bunch of Maryland and Virginia dudes arguing about who's a part of the DMV. We're a part, but that part isn't. Like, man, get the fuck out of here.
It's amazing how people argue about the cities like that, right?
Right.
Yeah, but since we on it though now, who started the New Balance now?
Oh man,
you started the New Balance, man.
I thought we were having a friendly conversation here, man. So this is what I will say.
Okay.
If you ask me, I'm from Baltimore, I'm gonna say Baltimore started New Balance.
Right.
And I remember when that shit was, another viral moment. I think Big G had posted like a video, a picture or something from like the 70s, some niggas with New Balance on.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Baltimore because I'm supposed to say that.
Right, yeah.
I'm supposed to say that. In case a nigga from Baltimore like, that's fucked up. You fucking Kurt Bone. You fucking them DC nigga. All right, they're never going to let me have it, right?
Yeah.
So
Baltimore, look, they show, don't lose your throat, but Baltimore showed me a lot of love. Like, my olive ribbon, like, my ribbon, man, Baltimore really showed love. So shout out. Shout out to Baltimore, man. But we still start New Balance, though. But go ahead,
this is what I would say. If y'all start a New Balance,
okay, go ahead.
And this is what niggas don't realize. Y'all, I don't know who started New Balance. I'm going to say Baltimore.
Right, yeah.
But what I can say without a doubt, and I'm speaking this is facts, this ain't us going back and forth on Twitter or the blog.
Right.
Baltimore made Nike Air Force Ones hot.
Okay.
And I know this for a fact because Nike told us this. So what people don't know, me and my partner Sean Caesar, we in with DTLR, which is the #1 urban retailer in the world.
We're gonna get him on his bench.
That's my OG.
Yeah.
And I remember we had this argument. I was talking to Jim Jordan. They're like, yo, no, nigga, Air Force One, that's a New York thing.
Right.
And I remember Nike came out and Nike said this, like, this is public information. So don't take Quicksilva's word. Do your due diligence, your research. Because everybody's wearing Nike Air Force Ones, right? And then they got to a point where Air Force Ones, they weren't selling like that. So Nike, they were going to stop making Air Force Ones. And back in the day, Charlie Rudo's, if you remember, all the stores up there. What was the other one? Cinderella's. what the fuck is other stores? There's a bunch of stores, but all those stores back then, they had promised Nike, like, let's do a big run in Baltimore and see if we can sell them out. And that run literally saved Air Force One. And this is, once again, I know people are going to debate it on social because they don't know any better. But these are facts. Call Nike. Nike put a statement out saying, and then they came out with, I'm telling you, last year, I can't remember if it was a 30 or 40 year, but whatever year it was, they came out with a Baltimore edition to thank Baltimore for saving Air Force One. So when we had a New Balance conversation, that's why I'm going with this. Is that the New Balance one we can argue. We can argue. There's no facts that can say on this day you had it first. But what I can say, the facts from Nike, Baltimore saved Air Force One. So Nike Air Force Ones, the all white on whites, that's a Baltimore thing. I mean, Nike has come out and they were like, other cities might have worn them, but Baltimore's who saved them and made us keep making them.
Okay, all right, let me touch on that right there. Let's talk about that. So I'm gonna say this.
These are facts.
So I'm gonna say the Baltimore, y'all saved them. I don't know, but saved them mean they probably was already up, but y'all kept them alive.
They kept them alive.
Y'all gave CPR.
Right, so they were about to go out of business. Nike wasn't going out of business. So if I was they were discontinued Air Force Ones.
So if I was a New York guy, I'd say y'all saved them, but we brand them.
Right. So New York might have worn them and started them first, but they wasn't buying them.
I'm just being devil advocate.
Right, which is fine. They wasn't buying them enough to keep
the lights on.
For that shoe. For that one shoe, not Nike as a whole. So, Nike was making the high tops, and at that time, you had the high top with the strap. And they're making tons of shoes. But the all white on white Air Force One, Nike literally said, because of Baltimore, we're going to continue making them. And that's a fact. And anybody from New York, y'all can argue until you say word to mother, B. Ain't nothing you can do about it. That's a fact from Nike.
And before I go to New Balance, real fast with Nike, I'm not questioning at all. But this might be a little small, 90% fact, right? Or this is Nike or the Nike Joe, right? Like this probably 90% fashion, man. But from Georgetown, before Michael Jordan even started wearing the A's and all that, whatever, niggas wearing Adidas and all that other stuff. When them wearing them Nikes, put them Nikes on the national joint, falls on the basketball joint, where everybody started wearing them hoods, right? So I'm gonna say that for just to throw a little DC shot in there, right?
But those wasn't all white on white Air Force.
Yeah, no, I ain't talking Air Force Ones. I'm just saying the whole building, the organ. I'm talking about organ, right? On the basketball side, right? Definitely. Yeah, I just wanted to sneak that back in there, right?
Absolutely, I give you props for that.
But on the New Balance joke, though, we were doing that since 1982, right? And if you talk a few Baltimore, my men up there that's of age, when we talk about they I don't want to throw them under the bus, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, but they can speak. That's why I said online what that said. But let's talk to y'all old dudes that's around that age that was wearing it, which ain't no thing though, because I ain't got no stock in New Balance. It's a friendly fire, right?
It's friendly competition.
But I just wanted to get that touch on the joint, right?
Out the park, niggas know me. Curb on, little homie. All days, yeah. Been a road.
Thank you for watching Changing Jewels on Kirkbone TV. If you like the jewels that we are dropping, subscribe, hit the notification, and share with some friends. And I'll see you on the next episode of Changing Jewels, Kirkbone TV.